The Security Council is meeting in somewhat of an emergency fashion on the Middle East. I could have said those very words when I started covering the UN here in 1993, but here we are again following this latest violence that occurred in Gaza. The Security Council ambassadors right now are behind closed doors discussing what should be done. Here you see the United States ambassador, Zalmay Khalilzad, talking with the League of Arab States representative and the Palestinian observer ambassador here at the UN. The United States is going to try to block any major action, diplomatic action against Israel. The lone Arab representatives on the Security Council from Libya, they, backed by the Palestinians, they're going to want to see a very strong statement condemning Israel and maybe a public meeting where there would be condemnatory speeches by a majority of nations. That's what's occurred in the past. Washington has always sought to limit this type of activity, saying this shouldn't be necessarily the forum for solving Middle East disputes. The U.S. may try to seek language regarding protection of humanitarian aid and civilians and focus on that. The Palestinian observer earlier told me that Israel should be punished for what's happened.
We're against the killing and harming of civilians, regardless of which side of the aisle they stand, whether they are on the Palestinian side or the Israeli side. But this collective punishment of 1.5 million Palestinians in Gaza is inhumane, is immoral, and it should be stopped immediately.
Israel's ambassador in a statement to the United Nations saying that Israel had to act after Hamas terrorists were committing crimes against Israeli citizens. Of course, at the Council, they will be focusing on the word disproportionate regarding the level of response by Israel. The Russian ambassador told me a short while ago, this is going to go a long time here. Counsil, back to you.
And Richard, obviously it's the question on many people's mind. What exactly can the international community accomplish? It seems they've been powerless to stop the violence, essentially.
Well, for the Arab world, the United Nations remains essential. For people in the United States and some other countries, they don't always look at the UN as being key to anything. In Israel, in the West Bank, in Gaza, the United Nations has a major relief and humanitarian works agency that is helping to keep people alive under what the Arabs say is this occupation, as we heard from your earlier guest. The United Nations is here where people can vent their anger, and we're likely to hear that perhaps in the next few hours, certainly in the next 48 hours here. And sometimes the UN can be that mediator, that honest broker. But in the past, the U.S. and Israel have been very leery of bringing Middle East affairs into this wider arena. Already tonight, the President of the General Assembly, the former Nicaraguan foreign minister, has issued a harsh statement condemning Israel. We haven't always seen that from the President of the General Assembly, who represents or speaks before 192 countries. But passions are running high following the level of violence here.